Blowing the whistle on referee abuse. A string of recent outbursts caught on video has sports officials in Wisconsin on edge. Fox 6 investigator Brian Polson shows you why referees say the worst offenders aren't even on the field.
That's right, Ben. Fans have been harassing umpires and referees since the dawn of sports. But the men and women in zebra stripes say fan behavior is getting worse, sometimes even dangerous. And now, a national organization based right here in Wisconsin wants lawmakers to do something about it. Sometimes it's the players.
Wow, are you serious?
Other times, the coaches. When it comes to poor sportsmanship, a survey of more than 17,000 referees across the country finds the #1 culprit.
You are horrible! You're ridiculous!
Is parents.
People have to settle down.
Barry Mano is publisher of Referee Magazine and founder of the National Association of Sports Officials based in Racine.
Right here.
It's an organization he launched in the 1970s after the Chicago Tribune shamed his brother, an NBA official, over a controversial call.
I said, we should have our own voice. This is nuts.
More than 40 years later, NASO provides tens of thousands of sports officials with training, insurance, and legal assistance. But Mano says it's getting harder to keep those refs from hanging up their whistles. Harder still to recruit new ones.
There's not enough warm bodies to fulfill the assignments that we have.
We have a major referee shortage, and why wouldn't we? These people treat these young officials like they are trash.
Brian Barlow is so fed up.
I put my money where my mouth is.
The Oklahoma soccer ref started a Facebook page called Offside, where he offers $100 apiece for videos of fans behaving badly.
Yeah, I'm shaming people into understanding that they have to be more responsible. Our kids are watching.
While most fans are supportive and encouraging, Mano says it's the rabid parents who make youth sports worse for officials than even college or the pros.
Oh, easily worse. Way worse.
In February, this brawl broke out between parents at a youth wrestling tournament in Kimberly, Wisconsin. 3 weeks later, former Green Bay Packers coach Mike McCarthy is caught berating an official after his son's high school basketball game in Green Bay. And just a few days after that, this happened.
He came out of nowhere and sucker punched me and then ran.
Terry Fromm was reffing a youth soccer game in Brookfield when he says things got out of hand and players started throwing water bottles at each other.
So I ran over there towards that individual and I said, "Stop throwing bottles, you could get arrested." And he took a swing at me. Free kick, Mike, let's go, let's go.
Fromm is still officiating games for the WIAA, but says he understands why other refs are getting out.
Something has to be done to protect us, otherwise they're not going to have anybody referee anymore.
Incident reports filed with the WIAA show referees are routinely insulted, cursed at, berated, and disrespected. But sometimes the harassment crosses the line into threats, even physical assault.
Sports officials today are really thinking ahead about where to park the car.
Because you become a target.
You become a target. Imagine that we're having this conversation.
According to NASO's nationwide survey, 33% of sports officials say they have feared for their safety during or after a game, and 13% say they've been physically assaulted, including more than 100 officials from Wisconsin.
I tend to think it's even worse than that.
He was enraged.
Patrick Anderson was attacked by a coach after calling a pair of technical fouls during a Division III basketball game in Waukesha last year.
You were not a good role model for your players.
Game video shows former UW Rock County coach Jamal Mosley arguing a call. What it doesn't show is Mosley and his son following Anderson to the locker room after the game.
And there was a full-on melee where the victim was battered.
I mean, it's serious stuff.
And sometimes it's truly dangerous.
It's a lot of pain that this
He had caused my whole family.
In 2013, a soccer referee in Utah died after getting punched in the face by a 17-year-old player.
We have somebody who just assaulted a referee.
In 2014, another soccer official in Michigan was killed with a single punch.
Just a loud, deadening thud.
And earlier this year, a Kentucky basketball referee was knocked unconscious by a youth basketball coach who disagreed with a game-ending call.
How did we get here as a society?
It just has to stop.
In Ohio, referees are teaming up with State Senator Christina Regner to increase the penalty for assaulting a sports official.
There is definitely a problem.
According to the NASO, 23 states now have laws on the books that provide special protection for officials.
We want to be a defined class, such as you have with firefighters or police or public transit drivers.
But Mano says there is nothing on the books here in Wisconsin.
We need to get a champion over in Madison who wants to run with it.
No foul, continue.
Until then, a reminder.
It's a game.
It is a game.
It's okay.
Good game.
It's just a game.
Good game.
The National Officiating Survey conducted last year by NASO included 162 questions, and still it was completed by more than 17,000 sports officials nationwide. The NASO says it is the most comprehensive officiating survey in the history of sports, and now they're making that data available for scholarly research. And you can play around with the data yourself right on their website, and we have a link at fox6now.com.
So, Brian, you mentioned in your story that 23 other states have legislation specifically protecting officials when it comes to these types of games, but not Wisconsin. So the big question is, why not?
Well, that's something Barry Mano would certainly like to see change, especially considering he's a Wisconsin guy and his organization is based right in Racine. But Mano says when this issue has come up here in the past, there's been opposition from those who say assault is already a crime on the books and it shouldn't matter what your job is. But the NASO founder points out, from his point of view, we already have heightened levels of protection for certain professions that are at greater risk of assault, like firefighters or police officers. And because of the passions involved in sports and the referee's role as the rule enforcer, he believes sports officials deserve that extra level of protection too. I emailed him this morning. He said he still hasn't heard from any lawmakers that want to take up this issue in Wisconsin. Maybe after this, I guess we'll wait and see.
Yeah, it's a great story. You know, I soccer officiate, Brian. It's certainly a crisis point. We need more refs out there. Youth sports just as popular as ever.
Are you one of the 13% who's been assaulted?
No, that's
We're
never happened
to hear that.
Me.
We hope it stays that way.
A lot of good refs around this area, too. Brian, good work. Appreciate
Thanks.
it. Well, new tonight.